What's happening, everybody? That is, if anybody comes out. It is kind of late for me doing a live stream, but figured I'd get on here for a short bit. What up, Steven? Excuse me. How you doing? How's the weather out there in California? It's been kind of breezy today, period. Been real breezy down here. Temperature wasn't too bad, though. I did get a video up today. You may believe that? Man, I got stung on the leg. Damn mosquito got me. But yeah, I finally got one finished, edited, and got it out. That was a long one. Whew. I don't like doing them long videos. They take a long time to edit. Especially when you make mistakes on stuff. What's up, Doc? What's up, Doc? Those are the good cartoons. They don't make cartoons very good anymore. That's just my opinion anyway. Oh, so how is everybody? Yeah, it's a little warmer down here than that, Steven. Well, the computer says it's 81, but I don't think it's that warm down here. Get my phone out. Let's see what it says. Well, it says it was 79 at 7:09, which I'm sure has changed by now. Excuse me. It is 72 degrees. So it's the same temperature as you are out there. Ooh, look at that forecast next week. Yeah, buddy. Well, I guess it's probably backwards, isn't it? But it's going to be nice. Probably try to ride the bike all next week. Looks like Friday they got a chance of rain. Be nice in the morning though, 59. Upper 50s. Be nice temperatures. I try to get the two-wheeler out and ride that dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we need some rain down here pretty bad. I mean, we got a little sprinkle last night, but that was it. It needs to rain here. And I guess back up home, it's been raining pretty good also. And friends that still live up there complaining about, oh, it just needs to stop. It's just living and making rice fields, and that's just the way it is. Anyway, so one of the guys at work brought me a wad of cash. Says, hey, I need you to order me some parts for this 4L60E. I was like, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah, I'm ready to build one. Stream at my place here is at the banks. You know, growing up, we used to live in a house out in, it was on its way out in the country. wasn't in town, but it wasn't, I guess you'd call it the burbs, but I mean, it wasn't in a neighborhood. But we lived right next to a creek, and if it rained like hell, that creek would like to come out of the banks. The house is actually in a floodplain. Um, and there's some pictures of it that's been pretty bad, and we had a lot of trouble with the basement flooding um, until my dad had a sump pump put in, and then we didn't have any more trouble with it after that. The sump pump did exactly what it was supposed to do, but yeah, it you could almost guarantee that you'd see that water come out of the banks, and it went around. It went around the east side of, or excuse me, the west side of the house, and around the south side of the house. But for on the east side of the house, it was probably, I was probably 100 foot away from the east side of the house. But on the south side, it was, probably a good acre away. But there was a street down the road from us called Bryan Street, and there used to be let's see, there was one, two, three, four, five. There was probably a dozen houses on that street, and the problem is when the creek would flood, all those people that were in the lower part of that street, their house would be underwater. Well, eventually, they came in and said, "Nah, no more," and they forced the people to uh, move out of there, and they tore down all but, I think, four houses on that street, but the rest of them are gone. There used to be a bridge that went across the creek. These people built a log cabin across the creek, and it was a beautiful place, but you can't get to it anymore. I don't. It's been a while. I don't know. They may have redone that bridge that they went over it, but it may still be there. Put my eyeballs on. Utah is one place I've never been, and I really want to go there. I want to go to the Utah mountains and um, what's the name of that place out there that everybody goes to? Starts with an M, I think. Um, hell, I can't remember it now. Moab, that's it. I really want to go there. I think that would be pretty cool. Um, I don't think many people take a 3/4 ton truck uh, back in the rocks. So, maybe they do. I don't know. But I want to take my truck back there, but um, just for the hell of it. But I don't think I'd want to do it if I had to drive it, uh, just in case something would break. Um, there's these two kids that I follow. I guess they originally um, are in. It's either Carolinas or Tennessee. I think it was the Carolinas. But anyway, these two kids built this, got an old school bus and converted it, and they've been traveling in it. And these kids are in their, I don't know, they can't be much, but in their early to mid to late 20s, maybe, if that. Yeah, yeah, I remember that very well. Purple border. I But South Missouri is so pretty with all the red rock and stuff. Oh, it's gorgeous down there. I love it. But anyway, they were going up through Arizona, and they went out to the Arizona desert and did Schoolie Palooza which was pretty cool. There was like 400 like school buses and stuff, uh, and they're traveling in this old short bus that they converted, and it's just cool as hell. Um, it's an old International, and these kids did this whole thing themselves. Very impressive. And I guess he's really flipping smart, and he likes to do hiking, and there's some trails and stuff that they do, and that's something I'm craving to do pretty bad. But we're kind of stuck here. I mean, we've got a horse that we have to take care of. I mean, he's important, and I can't bear the thought of something happening to him. If we try to rehome him, I can't do it. Even though he's a pain in the ass. You know what? You don't see they don't you doc you don't see as many as the diesel pushers as you do the front engine buses. But I mean they're out there. I mean they're just the same as basically an RV, but they don't have as tall a ceiling in them. So um I was looking at a doing a bus deal, and I had something lined up, and the wife and I got to talking, and we just basically said, "No, let's hold off." So, anyway, I'm trying to clear out some stuff here at the house. You ever put anything on Marketplace? I'm sure all of you have. The biggest pain in the butt is the fact that you put on there, I says, I'm not going to respond to anybody that says if it's still available. I'm just not going to do it. Because if you can't read the ad and say, "Hey, look, the ad says if the ad's up, it's available." Yeah. Yeah. My wife's been in Facebook jail a couple of times. I just don't comment much. I just look at a bunch of stuff. I'd probably be in Facebook jail too if I'd actually let my mouth go, um but anyway, so I put Charlie on there, the Sable, and I put our boat on there. And of course, I've gotten a lot of response on the boat already. And then some jackwad decided that he'd be funny, and he pushed the "Is this still available" 4 times. And I'm like, I'm still not gonna respond to it. I'm sure it's what he was trying to do to see if I would respond. I'm just not gonna do it. I mean, you gotta read the ad. I mean, and then, like I was trying to get a hold of this guy that had a bus here close to me, speaking of which, and, the, been trying and trying and trying, nobody responds, and I'm like, "Well, this is a bunch of crap." Well, they finally responded today, and they gave me an address. The address is a freaking grocery store, and I'm like, "Seriously?" So I said, "That's just a scam," and I reported them. I just don't have patience for that anymore. If you wanna play those games, you're gonna get reported. Well, they had to read the ad, doc. I mean, if you know, surely they're not just to the point where they see a picture and say, "Oh, well, I need to push this button." You can't get through life that way. You gotta have some ability to read. Speaking of which, let me see what this guy wants. It probably another one. Is this still available? Yep. Not gonna answer that one either. You know what? I'm going to. I'm just gonna put read the ad. There you go. Read the ad. I'm in a town called Vernal, Utah. Area like Moab, but there's about 5 hours away. Too cool. Yeah, I definitely want to get over there and that deal. The thing is, with California's laws, I mean, you can't go to California with a lot of these vehicles anymore because it won't meet emission standards for California. So, I mean, you have to basically stop at the border. Now, I don't know if that applies to all vehicles, or yeah, yeah, I've heard that too. But California put that ban on small engines. You can't have small engines gas powered. Um, you can't have generators, and I don't think you can have diesel generators. So, I mean, these people with these RVs and stuff like that, what are you supposed to do? I mean, everybody can't afford to go out and just go buy a new flipping RV just to meet California emissions. I mean, because there's some beautiful places. There's some redwood forest. I want to really see the redwood forest. I love trees and I love the nature. Those big redwood trees. There's some stuff that I don't know if I'm going to get to see in my lifetime, but uh, I just there's way too much stuff to see. Just like um, there's some caves. I think it's up in Kentucky that I really want to go through. I want to go see the Mammoth Cave, which I haven't seen that. Um, I kind of dig caves. They're pretty neat. I think I've told you all about the one that's down there in Silver Dollar City, down in Branson, Missouri. Silver Dollar City actually has a cave that you can go through, and it's pretty cool. Devin, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm with you, Doc. And in fact, Steve and I, one of the guys that I work with, got to talking. He goes, "You seen what they're doing up there at the grocery store?" I says, "What are you talking about?" And this grocery store is kind of like a dump. I mean, it's like the hoodlum bottom feeder. It's called Hitchcock's, but I guess it's real popular. Uh, and it's kind of dark in there, which that doesn't make any difference to me either way. But I've been in there and I haven't been impressed with what they've got. But anyway, I guess they built like a huge Tesla charging station in their parking lot. So I guess the EVs can go in there and plug in and so on. I don't know if it was just Tesla, if it was somebody else, but down here, Teslas are pretty popular, and they're becoming more and more popular. You'll see them every day, going to and from work. They're pretty popular. Steven, the only reason why I say that some of the RV people that I've talked to said that that's what happens is that you can get as far as the border and you can't go any further. In fact, one of the guys that races down here had a toter home, and he had to drop his trailer at the border and have it picked up by another truck that was emissions friendly because they said that you can't go in the state with that vehicle because it doesn't meet emission standards. That's a bunch of crock of shit. Just my BS, and that's what I think anyway. Diamond Mountain Dragway, hell yeah. Well, it's cool, Devin. I'm glad you got it done. That's pretty neat. Getting ready to do another one, I think. They one of the guys at worst asked me to go through one for him. Elon Musk is kind of like a technically smart guy, kind of similar to 45. Um, he's kind of a strange duck, but oh yeah. What do you think diesel's going up the way it is? That was something else we got talking about at work, work gossip and stuff like that. What they're doing, trying to do is get it so the fuel prices is so high that nobody can operate, so it shuts down the trucks, because they can't deliver the food, and the food goes skyrocketing in price because they can't afford to deliver it, and here you go. I mean, that's where you're stuck. It's a bunch of crap, and what's bad is nobody's standing up for it. It's wrong in every sense, and just nobody's standing up. I'd agree to that, Stephen. I mean, it may just be certain areas. I mean, or maybe the campers. I have no idea. 6.79 a gallon. Good lord. Now New Jersey's kind of high anyway. They're usually high on stuff, but Supreme Court stood up, and they stood up for what? But anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and sell one of the three Camaros that I got. I'm not going to have time to do all these. Yeah, I told y'all too that speaking of the gas, I put no ethanol in everything that we run down here because I mean it runs better and you get better gas mileage, believe it or not. I rented a little slim on the Honda the other day and it took $86 to fill this Honda up. It's got like an 18-gallon tank. And I was pretty low. I think I put 17 and a half gallons in it. Yeah, I never thought that they would try to overturn that Roe versus Wade as much as they wanted to. I don't. That wasn't a good idea. And you are right on the money, Devin. But I've got the donor I'm still working on. I still want to get. I really want to see if that engine's going to run, which I think it will. It's got compression. I just haven't had time to get back at it. I'm going to try to work on that here and there. I'd like to get the engine running before I take it out of the car. Um, that car is just bad shape. I need to get rid of it. Um, so once I get it running, I'll pull engine, transmission, rear end out of it. Because the rear end, even though I mean, all third gen rear ends are fragile when you put a lot of power if you go hot rodding it, but um, the this one that I've got's got an Australian 9-bolt in it, which I'm sure it's probably a 277. I wouldn't get lucky enough to have one that's 327, but if it did, that'd be even better. And I've got the one in the other 87 is just a 273 open differential, which not worth anything. But the body on this car is pretty straight. It's a little rusty. It got surface rust on it, but no rust throughs anywhere. So it'd make a good starter platform. Somebody wanted to media blast it and get it sealed back up. It made a good starter for somebody to build a car out of. But trying to clean up around the house. Excuse me. Still trying to get our fifth wheel ready for sale. And I think next weekend, weather permitting, of course, I'm going to try to have a garage sale and see what I can get rid of. Yeah, Doc, we're on the same boat. It's expensive. Um, there's been some days that, like Tuesday last week, I didn't draw one ticket all day, and I did nothing but piddle on my butt and play on the phone most all day. I mean, it was dead. And then Wednesday, Steve didn't get anything, and I got like 4 tickets, and a couple of them didn't turn out to anything. And now I'm down. I went in today to finish up this car this gal was trying to get home. I felt bad because I ran out of steam yesterday to try to get it done, and it was a cruise with a manual transmission, and for some reason the slave cylinder blew up in it, and it saturated the clutch and everything. So I ended up having to put a clutch pressure plate, throw out bearing, flywheel in it, and the slave cylinder line kit comes as a kit, big kit, and you're supposed to replace the line and the elbow and the slave cylinder and all that jazz. Anyway, I couldn't get it done yesterday. I was just out of steam, and so I went in this morning, finished it up, and got it done. Got one of the police cruisers done that I had to work on, and so the only thing I got left now is I got a truck and I got to put a transmission in it. So yeah, right, Doc. I'm still fighting with the IRS on some crap from when I had my business left me out hanging dry. The guy hung me out. So, Doc, at that Barra 6-cylinder that you're talking about is a bad mamma jamma. A lot of the guys here in the States are importing those engines because they make a crap load of power. What's up, Mike? Welcome. Thanks for stopping in. Devin, I'm right there with you. We've been pretty good. Just kind of discussing the normal events that so happen to be going on, Yeah, Doc, I've heard it's a really good engine. Why they didn't put that thing in the States, I don't know. I don't know if it couldn't meet the state's cafe standards. I'm not sure. Oh, speaking of which cafe, they're saying again they're trying to get the fuel economy standards to like 45 miles a gallon. Uh, it's all the same BS. They're trying to squeeze and get lobbyists together to push their freaking EVs and their electric bullshit. And yeah, it just needs to go. Life is rough, Mike, but I guess I'm blessed every time my feet hit the floor in the morning. Could be an alternative. Could be taking a dirt nap, if you know what I mean. But yep, like I said, just trying to get some things cleaned up around here, get rid of stuff I don't use anymore, and keep plugging away at it, trying to save some money. So uh, I don't know, maybe we can buy a camper. Corolla is smoking and shuddering or stuttering and losing oil. I think the chain tensioner is shot. That could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. For sure. What's up, Bill? Yeah, Ian, it doesn't make any economic sense to me. Here's the funny thing. There is there are gas stations going up like left and right down here. In fact, they built a brand new big freaking Circle K right at the corner of a couple of streets. Got a car wash, all sorts of stuff. Now, you tell me if they thought long term that getting gasoline was going to be a problem, don't you think that they would have held off on that? So, I still call BS on a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's politically motivated is what it is, and it's terrible, and it it's taken the small guy trying to take the small guy out of the picture, which is just wrong. Hey, what's up, Kyle? Yeah, it's a long one, but it's one that I've been working on getting edited, and I finally got time to get it done. Yeah, see, that's the whole thing that they don't look at, Mike. That was when I worked for Toyota for a little bit, right in service. These people would come in with a Prius that had the triangle of death on it, and you'd go through it, and sure enough, the battery would be bad, and the battery would cost more than the damn car's worth. And a lot of people would say, "Nah, I ain't putting that money in that. I'll just junk it." Well, here's the problem. Who's going to junk it? Who's going to take that battery off? Who's going to buy the car with a bad hybrid battery? What's up, Christopher? Yeah, I'd see that. Nope, that's the same one, Steven. In fact, just talked to him the other day. He finally put the 480 and that transfer case in his truck, and everything was going good. Because man, that transmission shifts hard. I says, "Is that right?" I says, "Well, I mean," he says, "it doesn't feel like it's getting any power either." It says, "You need to look at your mass airflow." And then asked him if the check engine light was on. He said, "Yeah, it's on." And I says, "Well, you need to pull the codes to make sure that that's not what's causing your issue." And he texted me back. He says, "I think we got it whipped." And so I haven't heard anything more. So I think he got it fixed. Christopher, the answer to your question is AFR 195s. You'll get plenty of power out of those, depending on the size of the cam, obviously, but um, most 383s will like that 195 head that AFR's got out. I know they're going to cost a little bit more. You could go with there's a couple of other ones out there that you can do, but I know that I've had friends of mine run AFRs versus another person's 195 head, and it's just heads and tails difference. He paid $2,500 for a new battery. Ooh, yeah, I think that's cheap compared to. And Chris, no, I have not yet. I have not got it running yet. I'm still working on it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chris, I just posted a new one today. I haven't posted, good Lord, it's probably been maybe October last year. It's been a while since I posted a video. So, and Christopher, yes, I think they're 202s or 205s. I think they're 202s. Need some water. Christopher, my thing's just been time. I've had a bunch of other stuff going on right now that I'm trying to take care of. So, 1980 Vet to run on water. Well, that's like the hydrogen car. They were trying to do that. Well, thanks, Christopher. I assume Passanetti must be, is that Italian? It sounds like an Italian name. What's up, Mr. Henderson? Well, what kind of problems are you having with a fuel pump that you've had to put 3 of them in there now? Christopher, I got my best friend back up home. His last name is Sligo. He's a 6'6" Italian, and his whole family's Italian, and great family. But yeah, that's who I grew up with, and He's the one that got me into the Camaros and IROCs. His first one was an 82 Z28. And then he bought an 87, yellow with black interior, T-top car, 5-liter TPI automatic. Had a killer sound system in it. But I can remember he used to work at down in the bottoms, making Purina dog food bags. One, I would check to make sure that the pumps aren't drawing too much amperage, and they've got a really good ground, and just make sure it's a quality pump. But if they draw too much amperage, it'll burn it up prematurely, or it may not be capable of doing what you need it to do. Well, Mike, on an 86, they don't have a crankshaft sensor. 86, it's run off the distributor. So the distributor runs the ECM and gives the injectors the pulse that they need. And I agree with that statement, Doc, for sure. Yeah, Chris, either that or Christopher, either that or we could you could do a go with a brushless and get a Walboro or something like that, like a 250 would be plenty to run a TPI and stock drum. Doc, it's amazing what getting the carbon out of around the rings will do. It's amazing. Oh yeah, music was much better in the 80s. I still listen to a lot of it. Hang on, guys. I'm answering somebody that's interested in the Sable. Well, let's see if they're interested in it after that. Okay. Twisted Sister. Hell yeah. Quiet Riot. Mike. Yeah, that was a common technician trick too. You get one the pump's about to go out, try to smack on the tank and see if it'd work. I tell you what though, the one in the Sable was so bad. It from the tank rotting out. Oh, it was bad. It ate the sock out that was on the bottom of it, and of course, then it sucked all the crap up into the pump and locked the pump up. So, yeah, I ended up having to put a tank and a fuel pump and a fuel filter on it, and I got it running, then it wouldn't run on all 6. Ended up taking uh, the injector rail off, pulling all the injectors out, cleaning the injectors out, cleaning the rail out, putting it all back together, and I had all 6 cylinders again. So, yes, there's not a bad Foreigner song, Doc, in my book. Christopher, the answer to that is how you maintain the vehicle. If you do a lot of short trips and don't get the thing up to operating temperature, it builds up carbon. Um, Cheap oil will build up carbon. Stuff with paraffin in it, which is a wax. Um, just my suggestion is running good quality oil, and if you use crude oil, don't go more than 3 or 4,000 miles on crude oil. Synthetic blends and synthetics you can run it quite a bit longer. You guys are talking about the decarbon and stuff like that and injector cleaner. I'm going to tell you one thing. One of the products that we used in dealerships before was BG stuff, BG 44K and their stuff. That stuff is pretty good stuff. Um, we've had good luck with it, and in fact, they make a injector cleaner for diesels that have worked really good. Yeah, Christopher, you don't see as many of the cruises with the 1.8 liter. Most of the time, it's the 1.4 turbo. But the 1.8 liter, you just got to make sure to change the timing belt. I can't remember when they're due. I think they're due like 105,000. I think is when they're due. I just got done putting a clutch in a cruise. No, belt is on the 1.8. The 1.4 is a chain, but the 1.8 should have a timing belt on it. Devin, the things that we've seen with the cruise, the turbo problems was usually the crap oil that they used. If you let it go too long, and you know, most of those oil life monitors are set to do like 10,000 miles, which is absolutely ridiculous. If they just change the oil a little bit more often, you'd be fine. Blinker fluid. Yeah, the Lucas and the Chevron's good stuff, Doc. Oh, here's the thing. Depends on what kind of fuel you're putting in that car. You cannot let ethanol blended fuel sit for a period of time. You will have fuel system problems like you would not believe because ethanol in the fuel is corrosive and it'll just flat eat up a fuel pump. That's what happened with that Sable is it just sat and it ate the fuel tank up. Got a whole bunch of crap in it. Christopher, I don't know that I've heard of Kirkland. Um, there's all sorts of private label companies out there that aren't nationally advertised that I'm sure make a really good product. And Mike, you are correct. Costco brand oil. I haven't, I don't think I've set foot in, I can't say I've never, but I think I've been to maybe one Costco. Um, I don't go in there very much. Let's see what they said here. Oh, can you actually do a video on Marketplace? I've never tried that before. Somebody wants a video of the car running, and they want more pics. How could you want more pics? There's a ton of them in there. Hang on, guys. Everybody's blowing up my phone about the car and the boat. Okay, catch up here. What Costco saw prices more? Change my pants. Oh, Mike, crack me up. In Colorado, they have a certain altitude. There's no ethanol blends. I would believe that because I mean, you get too much alcohol, the fuels can't compensate, or the cars can't compensate for that. Late night salesman Smitty. I'm not much of a salesman, Doc. I just try to say it as it is. I wonder why. The difference was staggering. Aha, aha, aha. Got jokes. Okay. Have you tried the Coca-Cola Tic Tacs? I think my wife got some of those. Um, and she said that she didn't want to open them up because they were Coca-Cola Tic Tacs, which I don't blame her. But I've heard they actually taste like Coca-Cola. No, I did not see that, Doc. Who's this guy? I don't know who you are. Lives in Trenton, Florida. Kind of look familiar. But then again, you don't. I don't know who you are, though, dude. So, They went last weekend. No, I didn't see that at all. I've been so irritated at all the stupid political BS lately that I've just kind of been uh, cutting it out. I tired of uh, tired of listening to all the BS and try to see how much junk they can stir up on the 45. And I just all the cutthroat crap. I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. Ooh, jalapeno cheddar cornbread. That actually sounds pretty good. Yes, Doc, I did see that. I didn't get a chance to watch it. It popped up on my news feed. I know everybody's trying to make a buck on stuff and try to save some money. But I'm not going to give this stuff away either. I don't recognize half these people that come up as wanting to be a friend of mine. This guy. That can't be the same guy. Maybe it is. Huh. I didn't know he played guitar. Interesting. That can't be the same guy. Anyway. Right? 50 pounds of corn for the next couple of months. Good Lord. Oh yeah, they're out there too. I don't know if you heard me talking about my bus deal. The guy I've been trying to get a hold of, and he finally gets back with me, and after I'd messaged like 4 or 5 times, and he comes back and gives me an address, and it's the address of the grocery store that's right down the street from my work. I'm like, seriously, dude. I, I, I texted him back, says I was interested in a bus, not a grocery store. But there's no boy down in South Florida that's got two of them that I really want. Well, I don't. I can want in one hand and crap in the other and see which fills up faster. But anyway, it was it was the right length, because obviously buses don't have slides on it. But this guy was kinda off his rocker. It was a 2007 or 2009 Kodiak, um, bus. It was a passenger bus that they'd taken all the seats out of it, but it was probably a 28 passenger would be my guess, which I figured out that the 28's probably what you would need to have decent size to make, a camper out of. Anyway, this thing was I finally found pictures of it, and on the inside of it, the headliner was falling down. It had freaking mold coming from the ceiling. Uh, the front markers lights were broken off the hood. Had hell, I forgot the dogs were even still outside. They didn't make any noise. Uh, the There was like down here you get this freaking black stuff and brown actually that grows on top of it because just of the sun, and it was all over it, and there was mold on the outside of it, and this guy wanted 30 grand for this thing. I'm like, I I texted the guy. I says, man, I says that thing's worth maybe 8 grand all day long. I says, "It's definitely not worth 30." I says, "I'm not trying to insult you, I'm just being real." He goes, "Thank you," and that was the last said of it, so yeah, I wish Mike, I wish I could get to the point where I gotta get the dogs in, hang on, because it's too late for them to be barking. Y'all need to make some more noise than that. Got you out there. Yeah. Yeah, I love to cook too, Mike. I try to make stuff as fresh as I can. That's why I usually make meals, and I'll put them in the freezer. I'll vacuum pack and put them in the freezer. I got lasagna that's in the freezer. Love lasagna. It doesn't do me any favors, but I love it nonetheless. Excuse me. Hmm. But anywho, it can't be him. Well, I guess it could be. Huh. I'll be damned. Anyway, had to slaughter my last cow and hog, and I'm good on meat for 2 years. Got 100 pounds of sweet corn from the neighbor and veggies in the garden. There you go. I guarantee you'll be a lot healthier than half of us out there because it doesn't have any of the artificial crap in there. I the wife and I have had that discussion before. I told her, I said, we ought to get a cow to stick out there. She goes, no. I says, why? I says, because then I couldn't stand to kill it. Well, that's what it's for. You raise it for the beef and stuff. But I tell you what, getting it down here is just stupid. Excuse me. They put ground chuck on sale down here. The Angus stuff too. Weekend or so ago. Wasn't a bad deal at like $3.79 a pound is what it was, whatever. But it was normally $7 a pound, so I didn't think it was too bad. It's way more than I wanted to spend on it, but we needed some ground chuck, and so I pretty much wiped the case out that they had, and I think I vacuum packed probably 40 some pounds. Needless to say, we got a freezer full of food now, so it's the point where you can't find anything in it because everything's piled on top of each other. I got some pork shoulder in the deep freeze that trying to figure out a way to make it. I really need a smoker. I don't have a smoker. I got 2 old air compressors out back though that would make a good smoker. I just got to have time to put something together. Steven, it's not too long if it's vacuum packed. If it's vacuum packed, it won't get freezer burnt, and that's what usually ruins the beef is if it gets freezer burnt. And Mike, I don't know why does it come in bottles and on bottles and cans. Thought it always came on bottles and cans. I guess Mike, if if that was supposed to be a joke, I didn't quite get that. Some days I'm not real good with jokes, if that's what that was. Plus, I'm getting tired. Yeah, I've flat wore mine out. I'm on my third one, Mike. I use the heck out of the vacuum packer. It works pretty good. Some things that don't work in it is like onion. They don't fare too well in a vacuum bag. Of course, there's a couple other vegetables you can't do. You know, one thing I never learned is I never learned how to can, and I think that that's something that I should learn how to do. We, I had an idea. Our pantry is like a bifold closet, basically, is what we got in the kitchen. No, plums don't either. Um, so we needed some more pantry space. So there's a coat closet by our front door, and I was like, you know, why don't we just convert that into another pantry? I mean, that's the way it's covered up. We don't use coats down here, basically. We put the coats in the other closet. So that that coat closet right there is now a pantry. And it works out pretty slick. I put a shelf unit in there I got from Lowe's, and I'm not real happy with it because it's pretty flimsy. Um, they've got those shelf units that you can cut the length and you put your um, hardware on it, and it keeps everything in there. It's a wire rack nonetheless, and I really think that that's what needs to happen because that plastic one is super flimsy. I tried to buy one of the metal ones, but it's just the closet is just barely uh, narrow enough that you can't put the shelf in there. It measures roughly 35 inches width in that closet, and the shelf unit is 35.7, so it wouldn't fit. So this one I found was just barely 35 inches. I think it was 34.9 or something like that. It's still snug in there, but it fits. And it'll work for what we need to do. I guess everybody else got bored and left. Just a few of us left on here. Put water in a pressure cooker pot, jars of cooked vegetables in jars into pressure cooker. Put tops on jars without rings. Top on pressure cooker. Pressure cook for 5 minutes, then put rings on. Somehow, Mike, I'd end up screwing that up. You know, my mom used to do that all the time. She'd vacuum pack or she'd vacuum she'd can green beans. Um, I want to do it for salsa more than anything, but I'm afraid to do the salsa. You end up with botulism, uh, or whatever they call it. So these people are still blowing up my phone. Let's see what this one is. That's pretty good back in there. I think somebody's actually going to buy old Charlie. Yeah, my dad used to my dad used to make salsa from scratch, and my God, was he good at making salsa. 5 alarm salsa, yeah. I like a good spicy salsa. I don't like it so hot that that's all it does is burn your mouth. Um, I like good flavor. I just not so I like a little heat in it, just not a whole lot, just something that doesn't drown out the other flavor, the other stuff that you put in it. But yeah, my dad used to make really good salsa. Christopher, how'd you get a 1.4 without a turbo? That is like really, really rare. And yes, the 1.4 liter will have a chain. Okay. That makes sense. They did make a Cruise 1.4 Eco naturally aspirated. Uh, Not that I would say powerhouse, which they're not, but yeah, they do get good gas mileage, and that one does have a chain. It's not a timing belt. A hole in my mouth. A toilet melter. that's good, Christopher. I mean, on that particular engine, I wouldn't want one either. I wouldn't want a turbo. The 1.8 was a decent motor too, but huh, yeah, I might have old Charlie Brown sold. Yeah, like I said, so Christopher, is your Eco um is it a 6-speed car or is it a automatic car? Oh, Mike, that's just giving me indigestion just thinking about that. Well, that's not too bad then, Christopher. Like I said, I did that 18 cruise with it had the 1.4 turbo in it with that 6-speed manual. And man, I drove that thing today and that thing shifts like butter. I mean, so smooth. Um, I mean, the whole thing was just smooth. Of course, what helps it too is that it got what they call a dual mass flywheel in it. In other words, the flywheel and the surface for the clutch is kind of spring loaded, so it acts like a dampener. Um, Makes the clutch pretty smooth that way. They did it that way because they can't put big springs in the clutch disc since the clutch disc is so small. But yeah, that thing, I drove that thing. I was like, oh man, this thing's just like butter. I mean, that's just nice. How you're cruising down the road 40 mile an hour, it's telling you to get to sixth gear. And I'm like, why would you want to do that? What year is yours, Christopher? Is it a fairly new one? 2016. So I wonder if it's got the newer generation 1.4 liter, if it's got the old one that they used. Because I think they came out with that car in 2011. No, it wasn't that old. The first ones anyway had iron block aluminum head, and they were made overseas. We didn't see a whole lot of problem with those, um, except if somebody run them low on coolant and got them hot, they would warp ahead pretty bad. Yeah, they had okay, then you probably do have that same one. Like I said, it was an iron block aluminum head. They had an issue with the water pumps on those. Um, Water pumps and thermostat housing or coolant outlet housing. I remember I'd done a ton of those, but usually the water pump was what would go bad. It would start leaking early, and they'd have you put bolts in and um, water pump bolts and uh, new pump. We got pretty fast at those. Did enough of them. The 2018 I worked on was the newer engine. It had the all aluminum engine, and it was more similar to the 1.5 liter they're putting in the Malibus. Why they didn't just use the same damn engine, I don't know. I tell you, one of those engines to have in one of them cars is a Malibu with a 2 liter in it, 2 liter turbo. Oh my God, that car runs good. There you go. That is the way to do it. Well, kids, it's been a good conversation night. I've enjoyed it. I hope you all did too. I'm going to call it a night because I'm getting tired. What year GMC or Chevy Traverse had the transmission problems? Thanks, Christopher. I appreciate it. And on the Traverse, the transmission problems, I don't know which ones really had a transmission problem. Those usually didn't have an issue. I mean, it was rare, but I mean, if anything, it was just usually a valve body issue. Set a torque for code, but usually had to get some miles on it. But anyway, that being said, you all have a wonderful evening. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. God bless you and God bless America. Good night.